Great. All right, thanks.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and go. So this webinar is about how to help you make sure you get your session selected with our tips and tricks and all the information. This is Janice Deloy with OHUG, and with me I have Mike Jones from OATUG. If you want to introduce yourself, Mike.
Hello, yes, Mike Jones, OATUG. A lot of speakers definitely have known me and heard of my name. I've been the OATUG Education Manager since 2018.
And Carrie?
Hi, I'm Carrie Hollick. I'm on the OHUG board and happy to be the OHUG Ascend program chair representing OHUG once again and working with these great folks to make sure that we've got excellent content, and excited to be talking with all of you guys today about ways to help promote whatever it is that you have to share this year.
All right, well, since I can't see the slides, Mike, do you mind just kicking us off and getting us going here?
Yeah, no problem. Let's switch to the next slide, Carrie. There we go. Of course, we just did some introductions. Carrie, I don't know if you want to help with kind of these bullet points here. Basically, what Ascend is kind of a collaboration between two user groups, OATUG and OHUG, for our kind of yearly conference. It's been really great.
To add to that, to some of the folks that have been around with OATUG and OHUG for a while, this is our second time coming together, and Ascend was a great experience last year. It's going to be even better this year. So we're very excited to represent such a broad range of applications and functional areas, as well as technical.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Carrie. And then I think location. We are in Vegas this year, and I get mixed messages with that. I do hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I love Vegas. Can't wait till you go back." And then there's the other group that's like, Vegas. However, we are at the ARIA this year. I know if anyone's attended a Collaborate with OATUG, ARIA is a great property. It is a fantastic property. It's one of the best in all of Las Vegas. So we're really excited to be there. It's kind of in the heart of Vegas too, right in the heart of the Strip. A lot of different stuffs, a lot of different things you can do and see. And I've been to Vegas a lot, so I definitely know that location, and it's fantastic. Next up is really how you're going to apply to speak. It can't really be, every year we try to simplify it even a little bit more. And I work with Carrie, I work with Janice with OHUG, and we try to simplify that process. And I think we really achieved it this year in simplifying it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when it comes up. And then of course, we'll cover a few tips and tricks that you can do. Carrie, I don't know if you want to add anything to the tips and tricks, but we'll be covering those. We talk about
no spoiler alerts here. We'll just wait till we get to that part.
Okay. Exactly. And then we'll obviously mention a few things to avoid. This year, I will kind of throw this out there quickly, is we are going to definitely have a lot fewer session slots than we've had in the past. So that's so you really want to nail your presentation that you submit. We'll talk about kind of the process selection, and then we'll just cover important dates and deadlines, and then of course at the end we'll cover questions.
Perfect. Well, we've done intros already, so these are the folks that you've got today. I'll move on to what is Ascend. So I'll kick us off and then turn over to Mike. So we mentioned that Ascend 2022 is co-produced by two Oracle user groups. So we are the premier application user groups, OATUG and OHUG. Mentioned that we cover a broad variety of both product lines and functional areas. Mike will get into that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that our main kind of coverage is listed here on the slide, but there are a couple of kind of shared topics. Professional development will be one of them. Those sessions continue to, I think, impress our attendees. It's great to hear all the Oracle stuff, but the professional development sessions tied to Oracle and how it works has been very popular. And as an education manager, I look at attendance, I look at survey ratings, and those are always really popular. So professional development is going to be shared by OATUG and OHUG. We also share the analytics and BI track as well. Those kind of cover both areas. So we're both going to be looking at those tracks at kind of some of the things that Oracle gives to us.
Yeah, I'm excited about that this year too. Like the reporting and analytics, I think is really going to be huge for all the members. That'll be very well attended, I think. So for those on the call, get those sessions in. That'll be really good. And yeah, then the product lines listed here, you know, are kind of the traditional application tracks. And so we do cover eBiz, cloud between us, as well as EPM Hyperion, PeopleSoft, Taleo modules, etc. So many things Oracle. So what happens at Ascend 2022? Well, Oracle education, right? First of all, that's the biggest thing that folks are there for, is to learn and to share. That's part of what we're talking about today, is how you can share your knowledge with folks. And we'll get into the different types of ways that you can do that. But as we noted here in the first couple of bullets, you know, speakers could show innovative business solutions, highlight your application expertise, bring your industry perspective. And keep in mind as you're crafting your presentation, an innovative business solution could be something that, you know, knocks people's socks off for what it's doing functionally. It could be something that drives efficiencies and saves money. Think creatively about the value that you have brought to your organization. It could happen in different ways, and how someone else could make use of a similar thing in their organization as well.
Yep. And I would like to add on there, we also offer continuing professional education. So CPE credits can be attained on a lot of the sessions, I would say over 90% of them at Ascend. So that's also really important to our attendees. And as potential speakers on this call, just make sure you kind of look at the rules. We will list those out and send those to you. If you get accepted, kind of let you know that you have to present for 50 minutes. You have to do a good PowerPoint. And turn that in, and then any of the attendees at your session will be able to get CPE credits, and that is also kind of a big driver for attendance at Ascend. And of course, we do have a lot of fun networking parties. I know last year with COVID going on and, you know, storms and everything else we had in Florida, it ended up being a beautiful venue and property. And I'm really looking forward to the receptions and parties that we have at this Ascend. Again, I don't know if anyone's seen ARIA from the front, but the backside of it has a beautiful pool, outdoor area, which we're going to be throwing some receptions in. We're looking at maybe a nightclub for one of the member appreciation party, which is like crazy. It's got all these crazy lights. And so another fun part of Ascend are the networking parties.
Yeah, that's great. I know for me personally, having been involved in both of these organizations for 10 years or so, I mean, it's been huge for me too. Just the connections that I've made have really brought a ton of value to me, both professionally but also personally. So I think that's super fun, and it's such a laid back way to get to know folks. I think that's going to be a blast. Before I jump to the next slide too, just wanted to point out here also, just a reminder that, yes, we've got cloud sessions. We do have members who run on-premise applications as well. And so, there's a lot of different variety there. Whatever it is you're focused on, get it in there. There's some people who want to hear about it. And we will have, an Oracle presence there as well. They'll lead some sessions, giving us product updates, et cetera, meet the experts type of thing. So lots and lots of different things going on. Ooh, Mike, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, it's funny. We did a site visit a few months ago, and then before that, I actually went there for a personal kind of party. It is a great resort. Again, the pool area, like in the back, because personally, I've never really stayed at ARIA, and I've always seen it from the outside. You only see the front of it. In the front of it, you can't really see the pools and the nice the lounge areas in the back. So It is a great resort. It's got some great restaurants in it. So definitely if you want to come out to Vegas and this outside area, which I'm sure a lot of our attendees will go to, is very nice to enjoy. June will be a little bit warm, but this outside area is covered with trees and umbrellas and all sorts of stuff. So please come out and join us at this great resort.
It's going to be great. Yeah, it looks beautiful. All right, so how do you apply to speak? We're getting into the nuts and bolts of it a little bit too. Mike talked about how there was a ton of work done this year to simplify your submission, and you'll see that, you know, if you haven't submitted your session yet, which is probably why you're here to get some tips to do it. It is a lot simpler than it's been in the past. You know, we're kind of focusing on what we really need and what we need from you in order to make a decision when we're going through the selection. And also, frankly, you know, what members are going to need when they're deciding what sessions to attend. Because ultimately, you know, we're trying to get the best sessions for our audience. And so we'd like to help you guys develop your session in that way.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I did want to note a couple of things on this page. In the past for OETUG, and I know last year for 2021 Ascend, we actually, our form had up to 5 learning objectives. We're kind of standardizing everything so that 3 learning objectives works a lot better kind of within our app. So we're only asking for 3 this year. Make sure you actually fill out all 3 learning objectives for your presentation. If you have any questions about that, you can always look at past sessions and take a look at those and see how those learning objectives were written. Also a big thing, if you do get accepted and you're a user, you're only going to pay a registration fee of $195. Our lowest fee currently right now with the early bird and everything, I believe, is $1,300, $1,295. So you're saving a significant amount of money. Whether you're a user or a partner or an associate, you're saving a lot of money on registration. It's over half off for associates. Users, it's, you know, very close to 80% off your registration. So please submit. That's a big motivating factor for people to submit. We're really looking for great user sessions. And, you know, it really, I mean, to me, it's not super difficult. Everyone's working within Oracle. And even if you just kind of list out what you're doing currently and some of the things that you're learning, would be great for our members to hear that.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, I've got to second what Mike has said there. You know, for me, when I first started presenting, I kind of felt like, well, what I'm doing isn't that important or that relevant, and I was wrong, right? There are so many people who are in a similar boat as you, and once you get out there and start sharing, you'll be amazed at how many people are just excited for what you have to say. And then honestly, the connections you build from that too, from being a presenter, are huge. You know, I met a lot of people that way by sharing some things, and then they shared back. And, you know, next thing you know, we're all helping each other. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, the 3 learning objectives too, I would second that also. Those are really key when we're reviewing the abstracts, you know, and when people are voting on it, that is super important. That is what people are very interested in. So being clear about what someone's going to get out of your presentation is very, very important when you submit. And you can't go wrong with a clever title, right? Grab them. Let's see, anything else I missed on this slide?
Now, I don't think so. I would just like to add, we are using it completely. I know for the OETUG side, we are using a completely different call for paper system. And of course, we've simplified that tremendously. And so far it is done really well. People are easily submitting their sessions and getting it in. We do ask for a bio this year, which is kind of new. It's voluntary. You don't have to put it in if you don't have one ready. So we don't want that to kind of hold you back. Or you could also upload a bio picture, which will then be uploaded to the app if you get accepted. But those are kind of those aren't mandatory, so you don't have to worry about those.
Great. All right. So jumping over to tips and tricks for success. So just starting off, as it says here, define a specific problem, solution, or hot topic. So be clear, right? What is it that what was your problem statement? What was your outcome? Is it something, perhaps relevant to what's going on in the world today? A hot topic around statutory changes or COVID, or, something that kind of was popped up within the past year or two. Be clear about what that is, and also make sure it's appealing. So, if you get a little bit too narrow with it, keep in mind that in many cases, this could be used in different ways. So whatever it is that you've done, perhaps could be leveraged by someone else in a slightly different way, slightly different outcome, perhaps a different industry, etc. And be real about it. We really want to know what actually happened, the good and the bad. It is definitely okay to talk about the things that went wrong, because I think all of us kind of look back and say, maybe it wasn't 100% perfect, and here's, if I were to do it again, what I would do second time around. Mike, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, where did we leave off? Fill in the 3 learning objectives. I think again, for standardization, we do not ask for any more. I know I'm going to get questions like, hey, where are the other 2 objectives from some of our speakers? That has been changed. Have a great success story or how to. Again, I think the best part of the user group is to actually talk about problems that you ran into and what you did to overcome those. And that would be exactly what you want to have here. I know that when you describe it in the abstract, the title in the abstract, it's funny because when I do look over sessions and I'm like, hey, I like this person a lot. I wonder why his session wasn't rated really high. I look at generally it goes back to the abstracts and titles where they don't have, it's really vague on what they're actually trying to do. So of course, again, putting the problem in, talking about a specific story is always great to know. Make sure to also remember naming rules for our volunteers. They really like seeing you you can name user companies like, hey, this is how I helped GE out of hot water or something like that, but don't kind of oversell yourself. If you are an associate, I definitely wouldn't go in there and say, hey, this is what, this is what Deloitte did to help save GE. Don't oversell yourself, or don't even really list your name. You're just talking about a story and what you did to help a client. So that was a good thing. And then the very last one, give your customer top billing. So if you are a Deloitte or one of the other consultants, make sure that if it is a story with GE, ask the person that you worked with GE to actually give the presentation. Kind of help them write it out. Give your customer top billing. Give your customer the discounted speaker code, and get them to the conference. That is the best way for you to sell yourself, and get kind of generate more attendance for the conference.
Really good points. Yeah, as Mike mentioned, keep in mind, we won't be asking for your full PowerPoint until I think May. So this is really at a high level. You want to be clear about what it is that you are going to be talking about. Really, we've got great folks who are going to be out there voting, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And for them to properly do selection, they really do need to have the good information here. So it's kind of the minimum that we need, and just use it to the best of your ability so that everyone understands what value you're bringing. All right, and with that, some things to avoid. So, we don't want to be salesy with your title or abstract. These are savvy folks. I mean, you guys know you're members likely of OATUG or OHUG, and so you're aware. You want to hear a good user story, right? I mean, you want something that gets specific so that you can walk away. You've been to this presentation, you can walk away and do it. It needs to be kind of actionable. So, Mike was saying, in other ways, don't sell it too hard. Same thing here. You got to have the content. People are really, really gonna hold you to it, and do make sure that you're not, broadcasting your company name all over the place if you're a consultant, right? Because again, people really are looking for like, what's the value that you brought to the business and the industry? So, if you're selected, you'll sell yourself just by being there. So you don't need to overdo it. Everybody's gonna know that it's you. And then just the small things, spelling, grammar errors, just drop it in Word first or something, just check it out, make sure that there's nothing like that might end up either confusing people or thinking, well, if it's down to it, we don't have a lot of spots this year, right? So this guy made some spelling and grammar errors. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this off. So don't get yourself out of the running for something silly like that, just be aware. And also if you place your session in the proper track, I mean, we go through that, but it really gives you a head start if you're sticking it in the right place. And again, kind of shows that you're paying attention and have that attention to detail. I mean, obviously plagiarism, this should be your own work. So don't rip anything else off there. And reminder, if you're a special interest group, if you're an OATUG SIG interested in presenting, you do still need to submit the title, abstract, and learning objectives. You can't just say SIG meeting. Again, we're tight on space. We have a lot of great groups. We really need to understand what you'll be doing. And I don't know, Mike, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, let me, I got a couple of things. Yeah, the spelling and grammar, it is funny because every year there's someone that drops it in without checking anything. And of course, so some of the programs now are great for me because I am the worst. People that know me know I am the worst spelling person in the world. So I'm always looking at that and making sure I get no red lines when I kind of drop those into certain areas. Again, making sure your session is placed in the proper track and smart track. We do have an education page on the Ascend website. So I recommend that you go onto that education page, read through the tracks and figure out where your story best fits. We do have a lot of different tracks, a lot of different areas. Of course, you putting it in there, putting it in the proper one really helps us out. We do have generally with our volunteers, we'll have our agenda chairs go through them and make sure they're on the proper track. Generally, there are several tracks that it can happen. We want you to put them in one. If it needs to go in other tracks, we will do that on the back end once it's accepted, but we want you to put your session in the main proper track. And then of course that last paragraph, and I know I'll also get it. It'll be like, hey, the EBS or EBS cost SIG meeting is, I always get those sessions turned in no matter how many times we drive that home. What I really recommend for a SIG to do is just say the cost SIG presents and then have a full title and a full abstract and make sure it's just as developed as everything else. As what Carrie mentioned before, we are really short on space. So those sessions actually are going to be kind of easy for us because if I see something like that, it's just, it may not even make it to the volunteers if it's not done properly.
All right. All right, let's jump to the paper selection process itself. So this, I'll kind of kick us off and let Mike get into the nitty gritty of it, because as he mentioned, there are some changes on the back end this year and a lot of work was done there. But just at a super high level, we do have OATUG members and certain OHUG volunteers who are voting on the proposal. So we do get a good cross section of folks. So when we keep talking about being clear about the topics that you're speaking about, keep in mind that you do have experts who are reviewing them, right? These are people who use the product and they really want to see those learning objectives and they want to see the specificity of what it is that you're talking about. We also roll in considerations such as historic data. So, we talked, for example, a little bit about analytics, et cetera. Maybe that's looking hot. So we want to make sure that we get more sessions there. And then, the track leads ultimately use the voting as well as the historic data and their own knowledge to build out the agenda.
Yeah, and I could add for the selection paper process for the OATUG members, we are doing it a little bit differently this year since OHUG and OATUG are doing it a little bit differently. We're not putting any of that information on the website. OETUG is emailing kind of our users, our members, really hammering it home to our education committee and our SIGs to make sure they get signed up to vote. Look out for those emails. It's a really simple form once you get it from the OETUG side. Once you get that form, all I need is kind of your name, your email, who you work for, and what track you want to vote in. So that's basically all I'm looking for, and you'll get further instructions after that. But the voting on, kind of voting on sessions is a huge one for us, because our new system should work a lot better than our old one. And when you vote on it, it's all going to be done within the system. It's all going to tabulate it's going to instantly tabulate all the voting out. So if I get, 12, 13, 14 people voting on a session, I'm going to have great data for the selection on it, especially when you sort it all out. It'll be so easy.
Yeah, I can attest to that too. I was able to get a little sneak peek in there, and it's super easy. So I love that. Great job getting that up and running. I think people are going to be super happy with it, both from a voting perspective and as you called out, like getting out the other end, those ratings. I mean, it's going to be very nice. All right. I think that's good for paper selection. We'll talk a little bit about what the timeline looks like here. So what day is today? The 14th, I think, something like that, right? So call for presentations closes in 2 weeks. So that's pretty soon. And, we've seen those presentations starting to come in hot and heavy. We're going to keep pushing for it. We expect, a lot more to come in, and then we jump right into the selection process after that. So we're looking for a pretty quick turnaround there, less than a month, that we're going to, about 3 weeks, even something like that, where we're going to be doing the voting as we talked about on the last page, and then looking at the data, crunching the numbers, and then fitting them into our slots. So we'll be reaching out to you guys to let you know if you've been accepted on the week of February 20th. So you can expect that, which again, pretty quick turnaround, which is good. And then we'll be asking you to register for the conference about a month after that. Well, I mean, you can register immediately, but we'll be making sure that you do it by the end of March. And then, as we discussed, you've got a little bit more time to build out your full presentation materials. So, at this point, you've submitted the title, the abstract, and the learning objectives. So then by May 9th is when we're going to need your full presentation materials. So that's PowerPoints, PowerPoints with notes. We'll have a template out there for you well in advance of that. Those are kind of the highlights there. Mike, Janice, anything else to call out?
No, I just want to state that it's going to be a lot quicker than we've done it in the past. I mean, our old conference was in August. Now we're in June, so we're losing 2 full months. So it's a really tight process from an OETG standpoint. It's gonna be tight for voting, it's tight for selection. And then of course, just a reminder, I haven't seen it in the chat. We want anyone that submits a paper for the call for papers, and you could submit if you don't think you can make it, but I think if you get selected, you have to let us know if you can or cannot make it. That will impact it. If you cannot make the conference, you won't be selected for the conference. We're going to try to accept all in-person speakers, but we could use your session also for one of our virtual weeks, whether it's OETUG or OHUG. We could use you as a virtual session. So please make sure you submit if you can or can't make it. But just keep in mind, once you get selected and you're accepted for Ascend, let us know if you can definitely travel and make the conference.
Great points. Thank you. All right. Questions?
We do have a couple questions here in the chat, and Mike, you just answered one that came in on the Q&A. So yes, we definitely want you there in person if you can for the conference, because we want everybody who's there in person to be in the same room as their presenter. Someone did ask if we could provide a sample proposal. I think we can do that, and we'll talk about whether maybe we can put a sample up on the speaker page or possibly send it out to this group. And then Why are there so many fewer slots this year than in the past? The space we have is a little bit smaller than what we've had in the past. We've also reduced the conference down to 2.5 days. So that's reduced the number of sessions overall. Do you have anything to add to that, Mike?
No, I mean, obviously, COVID is a big portion of that. Like if post-COVID, hopefully we can get up to a bigger size, but we're really trying to reduce sizes in that kind of match our attendance. Florida is, and with the other COVID Delta spiking, isn't really a great thing to look at. We will be looking at the numbers for this conference to kind of build our next conference, make sure we have enough space and session slots. From an education standpoint, from an OATUG standpoint, we used to run like 300 sessions consistently year after year and collaborate. Now we've dropped that down dramatically, but that just means that the sessions that are going to be going in are going to be the cream of the crop. So we're going to really, that's why we really need you to submit good sessions. And then once we go through those, we'll be using those for Ascend, and we'll also be using some of them for our virtual week, since I already know, because of the sessions, the space and session slots, that it's not going to be enough. And I know I'm going to have all these great sessions that I really can't use for Ascend, but can use for other things. So thank you. All right, I'm not seeing any other sessions here, or actually any other questions. So, yeah, someone had mentioned they want some samples, some learning objectives. I can definitely send those out.
That's a good idea, actually.
All right, I'm not seeing anything else. Did we lose? Is Janice still here?
I'm not sure, and sorry, I'm just on one screen here, but I think we do have
Okay,
a
I
couple
accidentally got mute. So yeah, one of the questions is, are there limits to the number of sessions that can be accepted by a company or a person? So Mike, why don't you cover that one?
The limit is one. No, I'm kidding. Because of session slots, it's going to be very difficult for a company to have more than one session. But there are really no limits. If you, again, it does get limited. If you're not a member of OHUG or OATUG, it is one. And then if you are a member, you can have multiple sessions past that.
And if you're an HCM person, keep in mind that you can join anytime to be an OHUG member. We still don't charge for membership. So if you have an HCM session, go ahead and join for your membership. And that I don't know that makes any difference one way or the other. We're looking for great sessions and excellent speakers. I think that's all the sessions I can see. I keep losing my screen, so.
Yeah, there's another question in about, and I actually don't know this one. This might be for Carrie, maybe. They were looking for a track for their ERP cloud, covers, looks like HCM, financials, SCM.
Yeah, I believe there is one within OAT. Oh, sorry, used across those. Oh, okay. Maybe let's talk with Mohita individually afterwards. It might depend on what the content is.
Oh, and
right.
someone,
I think we can help.
Perfect, thank you. And then someone did bring up a great point. Can presenters get CPE credits? If you're an OATUG or actually OATUG, or actually, I think it was just OATUG, but if you are an OATUG speaker and you presented at Ascend 21 and you did everything we asked you to do, which was speak for 50 minutes and turn in a PowerPoint, you would have gotten 2 CPE credits for your presentation. So someone did ask about CPE credits for presenting. OATUG offers 2. I'm not sure what OHUG offers on that, Janice.
Janice, you might be on mute. I don't think I can.
We offer APA, HRCI and IREM certification credits.
That's for the speakers.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why the speaker couldn't get it. We don't, if you're in the session, you can get the credits.
Yep, and audience members, yeah, we did cover that earlier. Audience members can get CPE too. The thing is, though, with CPE credits is audience or attendees have to fill out the CPE form for OETUG, and I believe OHUG, they have to fill out a form for that too, Janice.
We haven't determined exactly how we're going to do that this year, but I think the form is probably the best way to go. We'll probably just do it the same way.
Yeah, our
We just
forms.
have to.
Yep, our form's really easy. You basically have a form. You have to check off the session that you went to. Make sure you sign into the session, and that's basically it. So it's a really simple process, and we do have obviously a lot of attendees that fill those out. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions. Again, feel free to reach out to us. We do have an email on the presenter info page on the Ascend website. So if you have any questions, feel free to fill that out and send it to us. If you have any additional questions, send it there. We are recording the session. It will be posted on the Call for Papers website. Remember, if you have any questions about Ascend, it's always great to go to the website. We have a ton of information there. We work hard to make sure that website's up to date.
Well, it looks like we may have gotten a couple more questions in, actually, guys.
Yep.
Catching up here. Got them in the chat, got them in the Q&A. Let's see.
They're asking for the PowerPoint. Yes, you can get the power. We'll upload the PowerPoint and the recording to the website. Ascend presenter info website.
And as far as the sessions that cover two different products, so Mike mentioned earlier to pick one of the tracks that seems most relevant, and if it is one that really is kind of split and could go just as easily into both of them, we're going to take that on the back end and add it to that second track as well. So you do still need to pick the primary one there. And then, we'll handle cross-listing it. So, in the example of Taleo and ORC, whichever end of the products you're focusing on more, I would pick that as your primary, and then we'll make sure to cross-list it.
Yeah, and the reason why we do that, there is a method behind our madness, is I do know of many associates that'll pick every single track if we gave them the power to do that.
Let's see. I don't know the answer to this one, Mike. Maybe you can help. Someone is asking, they're an alumni of ACE, so they're an ACE alumni. Do they check the box for ACE in that case or not? I don't know.
I thought once you're, I think we're specifically looking for current Oracle ACEs.
That makes sense. Thanks. Let's see. Did I miss anything here?
Someone was asking for an example of professional development topic from the past that got accepted. If you're an OETUG member, you can look at some of the professional, actually, we didn't have any. Yeah, if you want to email me, I can send you a list of the topics that we had in the past over Ascend 2021.
Yeah, I think what came to mind, did Doug do one last year around kind of his journey through Oracle, kind of how he started his career and how he advanced in it?
Yeah, we're currently doing OETUG is currently doing a professional development series, and his session is next week. So if you're a member of OETUG, you can go visit that. It really states from intern to president of OETUG. So that is a fantastic session. We've had a really great series. Mohan Dutt put in there 21 ways to eat a frog, which is another, actually I still need to watch that session. I didn't get to watch it, and I've heard nothing but positive things about that. Again, that's in our knowledge base at the OATG website. So that's another really great one to do. I can't wait for Mohan's some of the titles of his sessions for Ascend 2022. He always comes up with some great titles. I don't see anything else. It's a missing one.
Yeah, I think we've hit them all.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. All
Great.
right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and we will have the recording posted on the Ascend website for you, and we will see you at the conference, hopefully.
See you in Vegas.